Think about the last time you were completely paralyzed by a choice. Maybe it was something massive, like trying to pick a topic for a major year-end project, deciding whether to quit a sport you played for years, or figuring out how to handle falling out with your closest friend. Or maybe it was something incredibly small, like standing in front of an open refrigerator or scrolling through a streaming app for 40 minutes, unable to choose what to watch, until you just gave up and went to bed. We make thousands of choices every single day. Some are automatic, but others feel like heavy weights sitting on our chests. We worry too much about making the wrong choice that we end up trapped in overthinking. But here's the secret. Making great choices isn't talent you're born with or you aren't. Decision making is a cognitive skill. It is a muscle you can train, strengthen, and optimize using actual science. Welcome to episode 10 of Progress Over Perfect. This is your space for organizing your life, navigating daily pressures, and building a resilient mindset using actual science and practical strategy. No lectures, no unrealistic expectations, just reality. Today, we're tackling the psychology of choice. Your life is essentially the sum of the decisions you make. The choices you make today shape the environment you live in tomorrow. Yet, very few of us are ever taught how to process choices. We rely on impulse, peer pressure, or sheer panic. In this episode, we're going to look under the hood of the human brain. We'll look at why our brains naturally make poor choices, how cognitive biases trip us up, and how you can use frameworks from behavioral science to make wiser, more confident decisions without agonizing stress. Let's break it down. To make better choices, we first have to understand the internal battleground happening inside our heads every time a fork in the road appears. We often assume humans are perfectly rational creatures who carefully weigh pros and cons, but in reality, a lot of our poor choices happen because we let our immediate emotions run the show. When we're stressed, tired, or excited, our brains crave instant comfort, which leads us to make choices that our future selves deeply regret. Nobel Prize-winning research popularized by behavioral psychologists outlines that the brain operates using two distinct modes of thinking: System 1 and System 2. System 1 is fast, instinctive, and highly emotional. It requires almost no effort, but it is highly prone to errors and biases. System 2 is slow, deliberate, analytical, and logical. The problem is that System 2 takes a lot of mental energy to turn on. When we make poor, impulsive decisions, it's usually because we allowed System 1 to make a snap judgment on a complex problem that actually required the slow, careful processing of System 2. Imagine you're exhausted after a long day, and you know you have a massive history essay due tomorrow morning you haven't even started. System 1 looks at the laptop, feels a wave of anxiety, and says, "Let's just watch videos on our phone for an hour to feel better." It chooses immediate emotional relief over logic. It isn't until midnight that System 2 finally kicks in, bringing a wave of panic as you realize the long-term consequence of that choice. To force your brain out of automatic System 1 thinking, use the 10-10-10 rule whenever you face a stressful choice. Pause and ask yourself, how will I feel about this decision 10 minutes from now? How will I feel 10 months from now? How will I feel 10 years from now? This simple framework shifts your perspective away from immediate emotional comfort and activates your logical prefrontal cortex. Even when you try to slow down, our brains have built-in shortcuts called cognitive biases that can wrap up our perception of reality. Two of the biggest culprits are confirmation bias and overconfidence bias. Confirmation bias causes us to look for information that proves we're already right, while ignoring facts that show we're wrong. Overconfidence bias makes us overestimate our abilities and underestimate how long a task will take. If you don't recognize these traps, you'll keep making choices based on what you want to be true rather than what is true. According to the American Psychological Association, cognitive biases are evolutionary shortcuts designed to save mental energy, but they frequently lead to systematic errors in judgment. Research from Stanford University demonstrates that once people form an opinion, they become highly resistant to opposing facts, actively filtering out conflicting data. This means your brain naturally cheats to protect your ego, which can lead to disastrous decisions in relationships, academics, and personal planning. Let's say you decide to buy an expensive piece of clothing or tech because you convince yourself it will change your daily life. To justify the purchase, you look up only positive reviews online and ignore the hundreds of reviews saying it breaks within a month. That is confirmation bias in action. You're actively filtering out the truth just to validate the impulsive choice you already want to make. To defeat confirmation bias, practice becoming your own devil's advocate. Before finalizing any important decision, pause and ask yourself, if I knew for a fact that this choice would completely fail, why would that be? Actively looking out for evidence that contradicts your initial plan. By seeking out the flaws beforehand, you protect yourself from blind spots. A major reason decisions feel so painful is that we often don't know what baseline we're measuring them against. Good decision making requires a compass, and that compass is your personal values. If you don't know what matters most to you, whether it's integrity, long term health, creativity, or loyalty, you'll naturally make choices based on what other people value. You'll bow to peer pressure, chase short term rewards, and end up in places you never wanted to be. When your values are clear, choices become significantly simpler because options either align with who you want to be or they don't. Studies from the Greater Good Science Center at UC Berkeley indicate that individuals who regularly reflect on their core personal values show greater resilience to stress and are far likely to make impulsive, risky choices under peer pressure. Knowing your values acts as a psychological anchor, protecting you from immediate social rewards that often trigger poor behavioral choices. Imagine your friends invite you to a party the night before a major exam or tryout. Your friends are putting pressure on you to go. If your unwritten value in that moment is simply avoiding FOMO, you will go to the party and hurt your performance the next day. But if you've explicitly identified that long-term personal growth is your top priority for the semester, the choice to stay home, while still tough, becomes much clearer. Write down the top 3 non-negotiable values on a blank card or note on your phone. They could be the things like honesty, consistency, and kindness. The next time you're torn between 2 options, hold the choices up against that list and ask yourself, which of these options actually honors my top 3 values? If an option violates them, it is automatically eliminated. No matter how scientific you are, you're going to make some bad decisions. That is an unavoidable part of being human. The difference between people who grow and the people who stay stuck is how they handle those failures. When a choice turns out badly, it is incredibly easy to spiral into toxic self-blame or complete denial. We beat ourselves up, which destroys our confidence and makes us terrified to make decisions in the future. Becoming a better decision maker means treating your mistakes like data, not like a reflection of your worth. According to research on the growth mindset from Stanford University, individuals who view mistakes as opportunities for diagnostic learning show significant neural growth following failure, compared to those who view mistakes as a permanent sign of personal inadequacy. Furthermore, seeking outside advice from trusted objective mentors rather than relying solely on your own stressed internal dialogue helps reframe the mistake accurately. Imagine you chose to take an incredibly difficult advanced class, and by mid-semester, you're completely overwhelmed and getting poor grades. A fixed mindset says, I'm just stupid, and I ruin everything I try. A growth mindset looks at the data and says, okay, my decision to take this class wasn't bad, but my strategy for managing the workload is flawed. Let me talk to the counselor or the teacher and see how we can pivot. When a choice goes wrong, perform a post-mortem analysis instead of beating yourself up. Sit down and answer 2 objective questions. The first question should be, what piece of information did I miss or ignore when I made this choice? The second question should be, what is one thing I'll do differently the next time when a similar choice arises? Once you've written down the lesson, consciously give yourself permission to let go of the emotional baggage. The past is fixed. Your strategy for the future is what matters. The ultimate barrier to good decision making is the myth of the perfect choice. We delay, we stress, we avoid deciding because we want 100% guarantee that everything will turn out perfectly. In the real world, you will almost never have 100% of the information you want. Waiting for certainty causes analysis paralysis. You waste time, lose opportunities, and let life make choices for you by default. Confidence isn't built by always being right. It is built by realizing that you're resilient enough to handle whatever happens after you decide. Behavioral research from Harvard University shows that people who accept that optimization has limits, a concept known as satisfishing, experience significantly higher life satisfaction and much lower regret than maximizers who obsessively try to find the absolute perfect outcome. Making a good enough choice based on solid evidence and moving forward is consistently healthier on your brain than chasing a flawless ideal. Think about trying to pick a topic for a presentation. You spend 4 days researching 16 different ideas, terrified you'll pick the wrong one, while your classmate picks a decent topic in 5 minutes and uses those 4 days to actually build an incredible presentation. By trying to make the perfect choice, you run out of time to make the choice work. Embrace the 80% information rule. When faced with an everyday choice, you often feel like you have roughly 80% of the facts you need. Make the decision and commit to it completely. Stop looking at alternative options, stop scrolling, and put all the energy into executing the choice you made. Train your brain to value action over endless hesitation. This week, we're going to break the cycle of overthinking with a challenge designed to build your decisiveness muscle. Your challenge for the next 7 days is a 2-minute micro decision challenge. For any low stakes daily choice, like what to wear, what to eat, which homework assignment to start first, or what workout to do, set a strict timer on your phone for 2 minutes. Force yourself to gather the basic options, weigh them, and make a definitive choice before the timer goes off. No second guessing, no asking anyone else for their opinion, and no changing your mind afterwards. By practicing quick, decisive actions on small things, you are teaching your brain that you can make choices confidently without spinning into a spiral of worry. Notice how much mental energy you save when you refuse to let minor options drag on for hours. Thank you for tuning into episode 10 of Progress Over Perfect. Remember, you don't need a crystal ball to live a great life. You just need the courage to slow down, look at the facts, align with your values, and make the best choice you can with the information you have. If this episode helped you clear away some of the clutter in your head, please like, subscribe, and share it with a friend who's currently stuck trying to make a tough choice. Protect your focus, trust the process, and keep moving forward. I'll talk to you next time.